You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt Migaki, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Johannes Ekström of Avatar. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers!
Hey, guess what? Guess what, guys? This episode is brought to you by Sinusoid. Sinusoid makes awesome guitar cables. They sponsored a dadgum pizza party at NAMM. They're super cool dudes, and their cables are awesome. They got power cables, they got patch cables, they got instrument cables, they got speaker cables. They got everything that you need, and maybe some stuff you don't even know that you need. So definitely head over to sinusoid.com and make yourself a custom cable, because they're awesome and you're awesome, and awesome things are just awesomer together. So big thanks to them for supporting the show, and go get yourself some goods. This episode is also brought to you by the fine folks over at Solid Gold Effects. That's right, those guys, the guys who helped make the Model 1 a reality. I have got to play, oh gee whiz, almost all of their pedals at this point. And I can't say this about any other company, but like, I know when I get a product from them to check out, I'm gonna like it. It has not happened yet that I was like, this isn't very good, guys, or, it's not my style. It's like, nope, this is awesome. They make one of my favorite drive pedals, for example, the Zeta. That is a fantastic pedal. Just the standard one is the one I rock most of the time. It's a really excellent sounding drive. They also have the Zeta Deluxe, which is just a whole nother beast, and it's everything you like about, or everything I like, rather, about the current one, plus more options than you can shake a stick at. So check those guys out. Also, solidgoldeffects.com. And, yeah, you'll be glad you did. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the ToneMob.com podcast, show about guitar tone and the people behind it. As you know, I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have a guy that many of you have spoken with and interacted with, mostly probably on the Facebook groups in various places. And he was recently on some other like guitar podcast, like 60 Cycle Hum, I think they're called. I think I'm familiar with those guys, vaguely. I don't listen every week. His name is Schneider, and he's doing a thing that he needs to come tell you guys about, so I figured, why not come on the show?
Now I speak. I'm good.
I have to ramble for 30 minutes before you're allowed to talk.
Okay, fair enough.
That's how this works. It's my show, my rules.
I can live by that.
No, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I had myself a nice little dadder day with the kids. Mm-hmm. And now I got one of them napping and the other one watching his television shows.
Very nice. You went on a little hike, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we went on a little hike in one of the national parks nearby here.
Nice. Yeah. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe we should start this off for people who maybe don't frequent the Facebook very much, or just listen. Kind of give people a little background about yourself, and then kind of just roll that in. Just give us the whole co-story, and then why you're here talking to us today.
Okay. I'll try and be as concise as possible.
Well, you got an hour, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
And I'm sure there'll be some nuggets along the way that you'll want to talk about. So.
Right.
Well, born and raised here in Southern California, beautiful sunny San Diego, And probably, I think, around middle school age, one of my uncles gave me an acoustic guitar. So I started playing around with that, not really knowing what I was doing. I think somebody showed me like the power chord version of Louie Louie at that time, and so I kind of like beat around on this, nylon acoustic string playing Louie Louie for people. In high school, had some friends, and we all thought it'd be cool to start a band, even though none of us really played anything. And so we all took guitar theory in high school. So it was like a performance thing. They teach you basic chords and single note runs. I failed that class. Yeah, teacher told me I played guitar like it was a bass. So I bought a bass and started learning to play bass at that point, and started several different bands with people all throughout high school. One of them went well into college. While I was in college, I was going to get a music degree. Dropped out so my band could go on tour. All the funding for the tour disappeared shortly thereafter. And band like halfway broke up, kinda, sorta, but not really. And so I decided to get a real job, finger quotes, real job at that time, and get married instead. And kind of just been poking around in bands ever since, I've done the try and be a cool guy doing my own art, writing songs that make me happy. And then I've also done the play in a pop country band because they look like they're going somewhere, even though I don't care for the songs or the style. But I thought that it would have success. And
that hurts my heart to hear the pop country.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was focused mostly on things like Taylor Swift and Carrie Underwood. We had a female vocalist, so
I see.
Which I don't know if that's a redeeming factor or makes it
helps. There's probably a few less Friday night pickup trucks involved, I would assume.
Yes, a few less. But all the while I was also collecting all kinds of gear, not only for me to play with, but recording equipment, because I always wanted to open my own studio as well. And it's just been a matter of me collecting gear, piles and piles, because I, like you, don't sell things very often. Tried to open my own studio for a while. I ran that for a couple years, had a few cool projects, but it didn't really do much. And at some point, I decided to buy like a high-end electric guitar from our good friend, Mr. Paul Roney.
Yes.
And since then, I've been obsessed with these high-end things, and I want more of them, and I think they're super cool. But they're expensive. I'm on a working man's wage,
right?
So it's a matter of saving and all that. But getting to know Paul and all them, I learned a lot about the industry and the guys that build them and how cool they are, and like they're all working men trying to make a wage also, which is
exactly
very cool. And dealing with that and talking to the 60 Cycle Hum guys and all that, like everybody kind of had this like joke of an idea to do a boutique road show and take high-end guitars on the road for people to touch and feel. And I was complaining about my day job one day to my wife, and she said, well, why don't you take that idea seriously and see if there's a way to make it happen? So that's what's got me here to this point, briefly. As briefly as possible. I am trying to take high-end gear and put it in people's hands so they understand the value of it.
Right. Because that's part of the challenge with those guys, and kind of touched on this before, but like, if you've never played something of that level, then it's almost one of those, you don't know why you want it or need it.
Yeah, because it looks pretty.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's cool, but I'm fine with my American standard stuff. Like, well, there's nothing wrong with it, and there isn't anything wrong with it. But when you actually get to go, put your hands on a piece that was gone over very carefully by one of these guys who really knows what they're doing and cares about what they're doing, it kind of changes your perspective on it a little bit.
Right.
And unfortunately, these guys don't have a bunch of dealers to where it's easy for everyone. So I think it's a great concept, and I think it would be really fun, a fun event for people to go to, especially people who aren't spoiled like me and live in Portland, where there is a bunch of this stuff that I can go try. Some people, especially, I don't know, in various parts of the country, that just isn't there. So I think it has a lot of merit.
Yeah, and I mean, I think so too. At first, it was kind of just a funny, like, cool idea. How could it really happen? But, once the wife said it, I started to take it seriously and looked into it, and I have a few other people involved that are helping me with it. Mm-hmm. Namely, my brother is my partner in it, and we're making it happen. It's going to start small, just doing what we can, because still have a day job, but the more I can put these things in people's hands, the more people will understand their value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what kind of a format are you looking at, or do you have everything nailed down? I'm not sure. We've talked about it here and there, but I'm still not 100% sure what you're envisioning this looking like.
All right. So the event itself is going to be a one-day, like, pop-up store almost. Like, a few different people I've talked to about it have said that it sounds similar to like a fashion pop-up store. I guess it's in the fashion industry, it's a thing that designers will just show up in some warehouse one day, and like, you can go buy their stuff, but it's only a limited amount of time. So we're doing something similar to that. I'm going to have, set it up on social media and with locals that I'm going to be in, Salt Lake City, I'll say, because that is our first stop in March. Salt Lake City. We're going to show up and set up shop, and people can come out and demo guitars and place orders. We're also going to have cables and straps and hopefully some amps. We're working on some amps that'll be available for purchase, pedals, and just kind of the day will be broken up into two halves for the different, types of consumers. Mm-hmm. And, the morning half of the day will be for people who know they want to buy something or order something. They just want to get their hands on it one time before they make the plunge, like the guys that have already been saving up and they know they're going to do it. It's going to be like an appointment-based thing for the morning time. And then the afternoon is going to be like a free-for-all, kind of open to the public. Anybody can come check things out, from just being curious about the gear to, maybe considering it, they're halfway there or whatever. So.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way the day is planned to run.
That sounds cool. And I just thought of an interesting kind of potential side benefit, for dealers, like, who maybe have been eyeing some of this stuff. This is their opportunity to go kind of see if it's something they want in their store. It's almost like a mini NAMM in some ways, which is kind of cool, because it's like, oh, it's just going to be in my city, and I might as well just run over and check it out real quick. And who knows what could stem from some of that stuff. And as much as we buy things online these days, I think I speak for most guitar players when I say we like going to the guitar store. Like, it's fun.
Definitely. Even if you don't plan on buying anything.
Yeah, it's like, go in there, see what, and it's like you always end up like getting strings or a capo or something, but like going to the guitar store is fun, and this is kind of like almost like a new guitar store is showing up in town, but just for like a day or two, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it I'm not opposed to people just coming out and checking things out, even if they don't intend to buy, because I mean that's what we do. We look at this stuff online all the time, and what percentage of how many looks and likes that something gets turn into sales?
Oh, geez. It's
yeah.
Yeah, and how many times do you look at something before you actually pull the trigger on it? You know?
Exactly.
I mean,
depending on what it is, but
yeah. Yeah, to your point too, like, I have a couple Ronies too. That was the first guitar I've ever bought without having played that specific instrument before. So I kind of knew I wanted one, but I didn't really know I wanted one until I actually went to NAMM and played a couple of them that were at people's booths, and I was like, oh yeah. I really need one of these.
Yep.
I played one of his Starliners that was at the Walrus booth, and it was just like, wow, this thing is amazing. So,
Star Blaster.
Oh, Star Blaster, yeah. The Star, I'm getting those flip flop there. Yeah, Star Blaster. Anyway,
Paul's one of my names on my builder list. I'm trying to get myself as well versed with his products as possible.
That's a good call. I should be more on the up and up on it, to be perfectly honest, but my brain.
He's taking a break anyway.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So do you have any companies in mind that you, I mean, first of all, I guess you could say who you have kind of confirmed, and then do you have your sight set on any particular companies?
Well, I've got Paul Roney. He said, even though he's taking like a hiatus right now, that I get to have his name on my list of builders that I showcase for. Equitz Guitars, Mr. Kevin Equitz.
Nice.
He is 100% on board. He and I have been working on some really cool ideas and things for the road show. He's also, a design guy for a living. So being able to work with him and talk things out has been really cool. He's going to be more of like a spec build provider for the road show. So he's going to have models that are built that can be sold on site. Because of the way he interacts with his customers for custom builds, he'd rather have one-on-one with them rather than have me in the middle. And then there are two other bigger names that I have meetings, that I'm working meetings out with at NAMM to get them on board, either as a custom order type of deal or spec builds. And then I got another guitar builder, Map Guitars. I don't know if you've met him. His stuff is really cool. He's been working on a couple different models for a while now. Right. I don't know that he's necessarily been selling them yet. I think he's working on being more of like a batch builder than a custom guy. So he's got a couple batches in the works that are supposed to, be released, I'm guessing, before summer to sell. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are my, Equitz and Map Guitars are the two that are like solid. And then there's a couple guys that I'm still courting, as it were.
Right. Is there anybody like that you haven't actually kind of already touched on? Like, is there anybody you're like, man, I'd love to have XYZ company's stuff here?
I would love to try and get Millimetric involved, honestly. Mostly because I want to play one. Like, if I could get them to send me one to play with, like, that would be freaking awesome. Yeah. But their stuff looks super cool. I haven't approached them about it yet. That's the thing. I'm like kind of playing it low key because I don't really want to be overbearing at a stop. Like, I don't want to have 16 different brands for people to like have to fiddle through. I'd like to be small and concise so that people can come check it out and not be overwhelmed, essentially, you know, not get the Guitar Center thing going on where it's walls and walls of different things. I'd like to be able to get 4 or 5 brands at a time so that they can come check out that brand thoroughly rather than just bouncing around.
Right. I wonder if it might make sense to, I'm just spitballing things here, but if it might make sense to have, like, if you, for, you know, you're going to Salt Lake City, for instance.
Right.
Everybody that's kind of planning on going, or people that you're in contact with in that neck of the woods, like if they might say, "Oh, I've been really curious about XYZ company. Do you think you could get one of them?" You know,
Yeah.
that might be kind of fun, you know, and help you. You can be like, then when you approach the manufacturers, you could say, "Hey, I've had people asking about your stuff over here, and they would like to try it out. You know, could I get a sample or something, and we could maybe get some orders for you?" I don't know. That could be a tempting thing, and help break the ice type situation.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Just a theory. I don't know.
You got a brain on you.
It doesn't always work as well as I'd like it to, but it's there.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought to have, kind of almost like requests. That gives me, like you said, a reason to contact these guys sometimes. Because, you know, we all hear the stories about the people emailing out for, you know, free gear or demo gear and all that kind of stuff. And I really don't want to be that guy. Like, I understand where my reach is right now and my audience. So I'm not pestering people. There's a handful of brands that I have a repertoire with already, just from knowing them via the internet. And
Right.
So those guys, you know, are willing to, doesn't make me sound good, but take a risk, you know. They're almost taking a gamble on this thing because they understand the value of their instruments being put in people's hands also. But, you know, other brands that have no communication with me other than me liking a post of theirs, I feel like it still would be a hard sell, but I'm not
I don't know.
opposed. Yeah.
I think it's different, you know, especially if you're not asking for, you know, free gear necessarily, if that makes any sense. Like,
Right.
you can, you know, like, I can send it back. Like, that was something, you know, when we're kind of going off in a different direction, but when I first started, like, on Instagram and doing different things and doing giveaways, I understood that, like, I was kind of a nobody, and still kind of am. But it's like, I didn't expect, you know, I wanted to do some giveaways for people. I wanted to, like, try to help expand the brand and the awareness, and that was a good way to do it at the time. And so, you know, I kind of had to bite the bullet with some of these guys and be like, "Hey, listen, I'd like to do a giveaway with you. You know, I'll buy the thing. If that makes it more, you know, more comfortable, and then we can do this." And that just kind of, that changed people's perception. I only had to end up buying a couple of them. Then people just knew that I was serious. I wasn't just, I will play this, you know, Billy's Barbecue Shack every Friday, and everyone will come look at my pedal board. Like, it's a kind of a different proposition, and what you're proposing is a lot different too. I think people would take that very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and so far the response to the people that I have talked to has been good. Nobody's accused me of just trying to, you know, abscond with their stuff, which is good because I'm not trying to abscond with their stuff. So,
one good thing that you kind of mentioned is that people do kind of know who you are already as a consumer. So I think some of these people will, you have a little bit better position than kind of from total zero, because you do interact in the community, and people have at least seen your name floating around, so that is very helpful.
Yeah. And it's a recognizable name.
It is.
Yeah. And, my plan, too, was that even if nobody wanted to contribute with, like, signing up to sell guitars through me or anything like that, I own a Roni, and I won a Titan. So I was just going to take those. If worse came to worse, I was just going to, all right, well, I've got one Titan and I've got one Roni, and I've got, I'll bring my little practice amp with me, and I will go somewhere by myself and set this up, and people can test those too, and we'll just start from there. I don't think it's going to be that small because of the guys that I am working with now, but that was the plan if nothing else happened. So.
Well, and you got that, and you got your pedals, and absolutely, you got a personal collection you can work with too. I mean, there's a lot of angles you could pursue there.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's helpful. And I know, like, especially with the pedals, like, it's not quite as daunting of a thing for most people to, like, buy a pedal without playing it. Almost everyone does it all the time.
Yeah.
But if you can play one, sometimes what I found is there was things that I was like, I've seen that. I guess I'll play it. And it was like, whoa, this is actually really awesome. I didn't think that it sounded that good in the demos, and ended up buying it. So that factor does exist there too. There's things that take you by surprise sometimes, and having a good selection of pedals to bring with you is not going to be a bad deal.
Yeah, I mean, I plan on bringing most of my collection, even though with the stuff I've got, I've only got one brand in my collection that I've actually been talking to about representing. So that would be the wonderful Pelican Noiseworks.
Oh, that guy! You can't trust that guy.
I've heard that.
Yeah, he's a
big time tweaker, right?
He's been accused of being a tweaker a time or two.
And he has some weird connection to South Africa that I don't know if I trust.
Oh, well, yeah. There is a South African connection. Some might call it the final destination down there. We just made a whole bunch of inside jokes. I wonder if we should explain them or not. Nope. Okay, I do have to clarify one thing. For some reason,
Leon is not a tweaker.
Leon is not a tweaker, but he was accused of being a tweaker, and it was quite funny. So, for all those that are wondering what we're talking about, I guess you might have to, join the Gear Slum and pour through some of the archives in there to really understand the depth of our weirdness.
Just Google South Africa, you'll figure it out.
You'll see what we mean. Oh, man, that's funny. How much inside humor can we get away with on a publicly broadcasted podcast, do you think?
I don't know. There's a lot of crossover between your group and 60 Cycle Hum and Gear Slum.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of crossover there, so I don't got to explain everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually something, it's kind of unrelated, but Wampler and I have talked about before. It's like most of the Guitar Gear podcasters have the same people listening, it seemed like. We all have a real close to, similar numbers download-wise and everything. It's like, it's really funny, like just to compare and contrast. It's not all exactly the same, and some people have their preferences, but I don't know. You're a listener. Do you listen? You probably listen to most of the shows, I'm imagining.
Yeah. My main ones are 60 Cycle Hum, Tone Mob, Gear Slum. I do Chasing Tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been listening to the New Tone Gear Nerds also.
Right.
Tried to get into flipping flippers. That They're a little bit more wide range in their topics, not just guitar gear, but they still count. But yeah, I listen to a lot of. I'm a big podcast fan. I listen to Mike Rowe, Alton Brown. Like, I listen to a lot of like Entree Leadership and business stuff for a while. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm a fan of the podcasting world.
Yeah, I am too, as it turns out. Usually when you have a podcast, you tend to listen to a lot of them as well. So maybe you need to do a podcast from the road show.
Well, you know, I started listening to podcasts because at one stage in my life, there was like 5 different people in a 2-month period that said, you should really start your own podcast. And after the 5th person, I was like, man, what is this podcast thing that everybody keeps telling me I need to do? Mm-hmm. And I started listening to podcasts and then decided never to do my own. So,
nope. So, why were people telling you needed to start one?
I have no idea.
Okay. I was like, well, there had to have been some reason for people to say that, but I guess not.
Well, I mean, that Christmas album that I do a Christmas album every year with one of my buddies, and it's kind of like podcasty-ish the way that we do it. That may have been part of it, but I don't know. I really don't know why so many people told me to start my own. But.
Well, maybe this is your new opportunity. You can take the show on the road, and then you can have the only traveling gear podcast out there.
There we go.
The Co Show. It even got a name. The Co Show.
It already rhymes.
Yes, it's so beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So we were talking about your bringing your personal collection on the road. Maybe we should talk about what that personal collection is and what's your current rig look like and all that jazz.
All right. Well, currently my my top 2 guitars. I will have to answer in just a minute because I hear my son yelling to me from the other room. Give me just a second. Let's see what he needs. What's up, dude? Mm-hmm.
I need to pause myself.
Yes, I can pause your show. He's got to use the potty. You know how to unpause it when you're done, bub? Okay. What?
Why was that not there?
I think Mommy was cleaning the floors. Do you want to say hi to Mr. Blake? No?
No?
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I'll just do this.
Okay, bub. Well, you don't have a goofy mythical animal attributed to your personality like Daniel Tyack does with his unicorn. Or Leon does with his Pelotar.
I wish I did. I'm not exactly sure what kind of animal that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know, one of my chickens has this crazy, neck beard thing going on.
Am I a chicken with a neck beard?
I don't know. I just...
I don't know if I want a spirit animal if my spirit animal is a chicken with a neck beard. I'll be honest.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's up to you, I guess.
I mean, this is if I have any say in this whatsoever, I may not. It seems like you're assigning me the chicken with a neck beard as my spirit animal, and I don't.
Well, I figure you're gonna cut this part out anyway.
I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe not.
I might not. I might leave it all in. Who knows?
So we were on my rig, right?
Yes. What's that rig look like?
Okay, well, I was going to start with like what I do with my electric stuff, but I play bass more than anything else. Mm-hmm. So I will start with that.
Okay,
rig.
sounds good.
My main bass is an Ibanez ASB 140. Mm-hmm. So that's their big semi-hollow ES335 looking art core bass.
Oh, very cool.
Love that thing. I don't know what it is, but there's a little bit of magic in it. The pickup is super just like articulate, and when I dig in, it gives it growl, or I can lay back and it's just nice and mellow, smooth sounding. It's super cool.
Very nice.
And then as far as pedals go, it's pretty regular setup for now. Like, I don't change out a lot of things these days.
Mm-hmm.
But I got my tuner TU2 naturally. And then I have a Retro Mechanical Labs clean overdriver. It's the box with the 2 stomp switches on it. So you can toggle more easily between the clean and the drive side of it. From there, it goes into my Pigtronics Tremvelope that I love and use constantly. And then to an LA Metal by Ibanez, because sometimes you got to bring the metal.
Of course you do.
And the LA Metal's kind of in the position on my board that is like the rotating position. So when something switches out, that's the spot that things leave and come and go.
Gotcha.
From there, it goes into a Pelletar, recently upgraded with big knobs.
Ah, very nice.
Thanks to Mr. Leon. Out of the Pelletar goes to my Deja Vu tap delay by Seymour Duncan, which is a far underrated delay, man.
Definitely.
So good. It's got, the effects loop out, so you can put crazy things on your repeats, and
one of my favorite tricks.
Yeah, such a cool trick. From there into the small box version of the Retro Mechanical Labs clean overdriver.
Oh.
And that one is always on. That is my tone, as it were, for my bass. That guy is just always sits there. And then to a Ditto looper, out into whatever amp or DI that I happen to be playing through at church or venue or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My personal amp is one of the Ampeg Micro VRs, the 210 cab.
Gotcha. Yeah. I want to pick your brain a little bit about the clean overdrivers. Okay. You've been talking about those a lot, so can you give us some details on what exactly those pedals are and what they're doing?
So from what I understand about it, so it's 2 circuits, a clean boost or a drive circuit. Can't use them both at the same time. The small box version is got a stomp switch. It's got an output volume and a drive knob, and then a toggle for clean or drive. When you have it in clean, all you have is the output volume. The drive knob does nothing. When you have it on the drive side, you also have the drive to work with. And much like every other Retro Mechanical Labs pedal, there's a little bit of a wild card in there somewhere. So on the clean overdriver, it happens to be on the drive knob. I don't know. I don't understand the magic behind circuits entirely. Like, I have a basic understanding.
Right.
But there seems to be a point on that drive knob where all of a sudden it really kicks in. Like, does that make sense?
Like, it as far as like the level of dirt, or just like the sound is just better?
The level of dirt. So like, it seems like there's one point where it's like, yeah, you can kind of hear it, and then it's almost like you can feel it when you turn the knob. Like, I have one of their Electron Fuzz pedals also, and there's a point when you're turning the knob and you can almost feel like something changes in the way the knob turns, and the gain changes, or it gets spittier or whatever. And so the clean overdriver has kind of that similar feel to it on the drive knob. There's a point, probably between 3 and 4 o'clock, that it almost feels like it clicks over into another beast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly I don't know if it's a original circuit, if it's based on something, if it's like, I don't know what sound he was going for when he designed it. I just know that I like it.
Right.
So.
And you like it enough that you have two.
Yeah, and then the other one, the one with the double stomp switches, actually has a big muff style tone circuit in it, and it also has a input gain knob, so that you can, like, I guess that would be to push it harder from the front.
Right.
So, yeah.
Or dial it back, probably, right?
Or dial it back, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they both get ridiculously loud.
Nice.
Insanely loud, to the point where it would probably break some other equipment that comes behind it if I wasn't careful.
Oh, wow. Like amp thrashingly loud, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Like the fuzz pedal from them that I put on here sometimes, I can't take it above like 10% without worrying about ruining my amp.
I know the feeling. Yeah. The Friday Club Fuzwami is basically the same way. It's like, as far as the output volume goes, it's like barely, like, somebody bought one. They're like, oh, thanks for, I don't remember what the deal was. Like, thanks for talking about this thing. I would have never found it. And I was like, oh, it's really loud. Like, literally start with it off. Like, all the way off. Don't just stomp on that thing at knobs at noon. You will blow something up.
Yeah. The Retromechanical Lab stuff, it even says that in their, like, the instructions that come with it. Like, be careful. This device will harm all your stuff. And they're not joking.
I like I think I've talked about this maybe with Brian Wampler before. I like having lots of output volume, because it's always better to have more on tap than not enough. But I don't know. Once it gets to that level, I'm almost like, do we really need that much output volume? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's not always a matter of need, Blake.
Well, that's true. Sometimes you just want it for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I am very, very, very aware of wanting things for no reason.
Mm-hmm. The curse of our age, right?
It is. Do you have anything high on the gas list right now that you want for no reason?
There's a couple different reverbs that I'd really like to get. I've yet to find a reverb pedal that I enjoy thoroughly. But I've been looking. I like that Empress reverb.
That thing looks cool.
Pretty cool. The MXR reverb is super high on the list because it's relatively affordable. MXR makes solid stuff that's not going to break down on you, and it has a huge variety of sounds. And then the other reverb that I was thinking about getting would be the Red Panda.
The Context?
The Context. Are they Red Panda Labs or just Red Panda?
I think it's Red Panda Labs.
Okay. That Context.
Context right now. I don't know where it went. The Context is really nice. I like that pedal a lot. It's been around for a while, but it has some really nice sounds in it. I really like the Cathedral mode on that pedal a lot. It's a very bright, intense reverb.
It's the plate that I'm interested in on all of these, really. I feel like the plate reverb is the one that's going to make me like a reverb pedal finally.
My favorite plate reverb that I've played is actually in the Dr. Scientist reverberator. That's my favorite plate reverb. I haven't played just a ton of them. I played probably 4 or 5 different plate reverbs, and the one that's in that is what made me buy the pedal. That's a really nice reverb pedal.
Hey, I had this idea one time with a friend that I want to run by you.
Okay, I like ideas with friends.
And I'll run it by you for everybody to hear, so that if somebody else hears it and thinks it's a good idea and wants to do it, they're more than welcome. So one of my buddies is a producer and engineer, and he really wants a real plate reverb.
Okay.
But, it's a 4-foot by 8-foot metal plate usually with all sorts of auxiliary equipment, and it needs its own special closet and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him about like the Surfy Bear stuff with the spring reverb kits that you can do. And so we were like trying to figure out for a while if we could make like a mini plate reverb. Like instead of a 4x8 sheet, do like a 2x4, like 2-foot by 4-foot thing, and then it'd be smaller and easier for project studios.
Right.
But it never went past like the conception stage of like, could we make this happen? Is it doable? And then we kind of fell out of love with the like trying to make it happen.
Yeah, it's interesting that you are talking about that. When Chris Benson came on the show, like well over a year ago, he was like the third guest or something. He was talking about building a plate reverb. I don't know that that's happened. I don't think it has, unless he did like a one-off or something. But I'm wondering. I have no idea because I don't know anything about this stuff. But
you wouldn't get as much like harmonic content, I wouldn't think.
No, but it could. I wonder if it would sound good. Like I'm kind of looking at my pedal board right now, and it's like if I had a plate reverb that size that sounded good, that'd be pretty rad.
Right. I mean that. Yeah, I mean 2 foot by 4 foot isn't really easy for you to take around to gigs and stuff.
No.
But it makes it more accessible for home studios and whatnot.
Yeah, it's almost like if the concept worked, it would almost kind of do for plate reverb what like the T-Rex replicator is doing for tape delay.
Yeah.
Just like making it's not perfect, but at least it's something that's a little more available now.
Right.
I wonder if the length, if I could be wrong, but I think the length of the plate has to do with the amount of time or tails. So it may be like so small that it doesn't work. I have no idea, but I love the idea. I love the concept if it indeed is possible.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, hopefully somebody will hear it and run with it.
Or at least try it and tell us if it works. Or somebody should tell it. Just somebody who's smarter than me.
And me.
Could just
and collectively you and I.
Yes. I think they should just shoot an email to tell me why it will or will not work. That would be great. So then we can put this thing to rest or make it happen.
Yeah. Shoot that email over to me if you get it.
Will do. info@tonemob.com. That's gotten me thinking now, like in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to ever do this, but what would it sound like if you had a giant spring reverb?
A 16 by 32 foot.
Yeah.
Oh, giant spring reverb?
A giant spring, yeah. Would that matter?
Like a garage door spring?
Yeah, like something like like a spring reverb tank that's the size of a piano. I'm wondering if that would, because I know like the little tiny tanks like that are some people have made pedals with.
Yeah,
they're not really. I mean, there might be a great one out there, but the ones I've played were not wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's like a big Fender-sized spring reverb is obviously it sounds a lot better.
Right.
So I wonder if expanding on that concept, if we had an enormous spring reverb for that Abbey Road kept at their studios or something, if it would be like the best spring ever.
Well, it wouldn't just drip; it would pour.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Ooh.
Yeah.
So if you start making those for some reason, that's your marketing slogan.
TM. It's mine.
All right. I'll let you have
it. All right.
The coverb. It doesn't just drip; it pours. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a massive spring and a tiny plate reverb. We're going all completely backwards on everyone's concept of time-based effects.
That's where we're at in society right now. So that's fine.
We don't want to make any commentaries on society. We can do that off the air.
Okay, well, I mean, everybody can agree that things aren't where they want them to be, no matter what you believe or think.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That is quite... nobody's happy with any results of anything right now.
Anything. Another year has gone by.
We lost Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2017's they gotta catch us a break here. I feel it in my bones. We gotta have a break at some point.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
why not?
Well, you know, it's the year of Co Part 2.
That's right. I forgot. We should talk about Year of Co. You did win a lot of stuff last year, didn't you?
I sure did. And that's part of the inspiration for what I'm doing. I'm like, man, I got a lot of cool stuff. I gotta give back to the community somehow.
Right.
So I'm gonna sell stuff to them.
I'm going to give back to the community by taking their money. Does that work? Is that how that works?
I think, right?
Sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, by giving back to the community, I mean mostly like the builders and the, awesome people doing the giveaways and all that.
Right.
Everybody else is just a poor schlub like me, so.
What all did 2016? It took a lot from us, but it gave a lot to Co. What all did you win from entering various contests last year? If you don't want to say, that's okay, but the comprehensive list would be interesting.
I was actually gonna put together how everybody is doing those best 9 of 2016 or whatever.
Right.
I was gonna do that of all the stuff I won, but a lot of it is actually out on loan right now. That was one thing that I decided to do since I was winning so much stuff was a lot of the players that are younger than me at my church and stuff don't have pedal boards or whatever, so I just started putting boards together and loaning out equipment for them or to them. But I mean, some of my highlights, definitely winning a Titan was a crazy highlight. Won a handful of pedals and some straps and cables and lots of cool stuff.
Nice.
I have no complaints about how the year went for me on the winning front.
Well, and see, you already are giving back to the community. You're loaning out the goods. That right. Counts. That's giving back. That's better. That's better than you painted a picture of yourself like you were just trying to make money, and here you are, you're loaning stuff out to kids. Give yourself some credit.
Well, I mean, in order for people to perceive me as like a big, valuable business, I have to take money, right?
Well, of course. That's just the way it works. I mean, you can't be traveling to Salt Lake City for free.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that. Yeah, I know. I am giving back. That's part of the deal, right? We're all in it together.
That's right. Absolutely.
I'm doing my best to try harder and suck less. So. That's all any of us can really ask. I mean, yeah.
Try to not suck so much. It's a daily struggle.
Yes,
well, Co,
yes, it is.
Co, we're getting down to the last couple minutes, and I just feel like it would be a bad thing if I didn't let you tell people where to find more information on this, if the website's up, or how to get in touch with you if they want to maybe contribute, or maybe they want you to come to their city.
Okay. Yeah. So I do have a website. It is coesch.com. Probably by NAMM, we have it worked out that there will be a new part of the page that has the information about the one-day roadshow. Currently, it has a lot of stuff on there about me as a session player and a producer. So that'll be added. I'm also on the Instagram at Schneider.
The Instagram.
That's where I'm most active. I write reviews and different things on Medium but I don't even know what my username is on there, so it'd be hard to find me. And I'm on the Facebook.
Yes.
I am always accepting friend requests.
The face pages.
The face pages,
as they call it.
Yeah.
Right on.
And then there's a Twitter, but I'm not very active on there. It's usually just content pushed from my Instagram. So.
Okay. Cool. And then the final question, obviously,
I've been
you
waiting.
know what it is do you like Greek yogurt?
No.
No, I don't care about that. What kind of pizza do you like?
My favorite is pepperoni.
Straight up?
Just
Pepperoni.
Just a nice pepperoni pizza. My son actually got me into something a little different. There was a phase that he went through where the only thing he would eat was green bell peppers. So when we went to get pizza one time, he said he wanted green bell peppers on his pizza. And they threw the bell peppers on the pizza right as it came out of the oven. And so pepperoni and green bell peppers is like my next go-to.
That would be good.
It's so good. That nice, crisp, fresh crunch on top of a nice, greasy pizza. So
yeah. Good. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Makes you feel healthy while you're eating
pizza. Look how healthy I am, everyone. I have vegetables on my pizza.
Not only that, a green vegetable.
A green vegetable on pizza?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm trying to think of somebody who's perceived as extra healthy, but no one's coming to mind.
Chris Traeger.
Who?
From Parks and Recreation, Rob Lowe's character.
Oh yes, he is healthy.
Yeah. Yes.
Rob Lowe does appear to be a very healthy man.
Yes. Well, his character, he goes out to lunch and he says he wants something raw and cucumber based. So he orders a cucumber.
Cucumber based, though.
Yes.
Yes. It makes sense. It's good. It's just good science.
Well, of course. Hydration and vitamins.
Absolutely. Well, right on, Co. Well, we're right at that hour mark, so that worked out perfectly. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for all the chats too.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing this thing get off the ground, and I'll definitely be telling everybody about it when it does, because it's cool. So
yeah, thank you.
Right on. I'll go ahead and wrap this thing up, unless you have anything else you got to say, or shout outs, or anything like that.
Yes. Shout out to Cole Duke.
Shout out to Cole Duke.
He knows why.
Ooh, mysterious. That's good enough. That's a good enough note to wrap up on as anything. So shout out to Cole Duke, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones. One last thing before we totally sign off here, I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what?
Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gunstreet as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gunstreet harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.